Liverpool in crisis. Van Dijk and Salah dropped. Steven Gerrard gives his shocking verdict. Stay tuned. Arne Slot losing support of Liverpool fans as dropping Virgil van Dijk and Mohamed Salah suggested. The Echo opens the floor for Liverpool fans to have their say on all things at Anfield ahead of a Champions League quarter-final trip to Paris. After an abject FA Cup exit at the hands of Manchester City, Liverpool returned to action in the quarter-finals of the Champions League on Wednesday night against Paris Saint-Germain. Cup exits at the Etihad are no disgrace, but the manner of the loss to Pep Guardiola's side, when Liverpool shipped 4 goals inside a 20-minute period, either side of half-time, should be a major concern. Arne Slot's Reds wilt at the first sign of a setback, it seems, and there has been plenty of criticism to go around on the back of that dismal defeat to City on Saturday lunchtime. So unsurprisingly, such themes have emerged in our weekly Reds Letter Day feature, has once more opened the floor to its readers to give their views on just what is going on at Anfield right now. I would love to know if this poor brand of football has accelerated the demise of Mo Salah. You don't drop off that much in a season. I can still see a world where he gets his mojo back and scores 20-odd per season if the team start playing some decent football again. I think it's almost now or never for Xabi Alonso at Liverpool. Personally, if I was FSG, in light of where we are, I would pull the trigger. Gordon, Thomas, Andrew, Chester, reality is almost every player in LFC performs well when he goes for international duty, but come up short under Slot, and that is very much telling on a Salah replacement. It is impossible without a solid, concrete and effective philosophy and playing style that allows players to showcase what they're capable of. Don't play Mo and VVD. Just let it be. Not only because they've been below par, but they play almost every single game. And at their age, it's plain stupid to expect their usual high levels. Throw in Trainioni or Rio Ingumoa at least for 30 minutes because we are so freaking predictable. There are many issues at Anfield. The results we see every week are a reflection of them all. There's no quick fix. The FSG model means an average net spend each year of £35 to £40 million. Not enough. With that model, you need many things to go in your favour. Academy players coming through every now and again who are good enough for a first-team squad. A few decent free signings every now and again. Milner and Matip. A coach who can make good players great. Selling players at a profit, not a loss. No injuries to key players as squad depth isn't deep. Get rid of players before their legs go and maximise value from the sale. Signing good players and making them great. If any one of these things goes west in a season, you'll be up against it. This season, we've seen a number of these things fail. That said, the team have clearly given up on Slot, and most of the fan base has too now. Richard Hughes has done him no favours during the summer too. It's time for a clear out off the pitch. Standards have slipped. Great players look poor. The fitness and intensity is zero. There's no mental strength. I feared we'd see a bad defeat in Manchester and Paris ruin the season. They need to get their act together and fast. Big summer ahead. Big decisions required by FSG. Arne has to go, sadly, or the rot will continue. Andy Milburn. Egbert one doesn't need to be a sports psychologist or football expert to understand that Slot's reaction and comments, his unfortunately apt description of his players, leads to the irrefutable conclusion that he has lost the dressing room. During Jurgen Klopp's entire tenure at Anfield, I never heard him say something even remotely close to that, deriding his players. Slot and his style of play, the plodding, dithering, impotent attack, has turned this group of players from mentality monsters to mentality mice. It is clear that the players have lost belief. Their confidence has been eroded. It would happen to any group of players who had been saddled with a sort of half-hearted, meek approach to trying to win a football game that Slot has imposed on them. Here you go, lads. Take this squirt gun to your knife fight and let's see how you do. Yes, I recognise that there are other factors. Salah is clearly done and Virgil is not far behind him. Konate continues to be a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. McAllister hasn't been up to his previous levels, but they are all being asked to win football games with an attacking strategy that is attacking in name only. Regardless of how the remainder of this season plays out, a new manager needs to be installed before next season begins. Otherwise, this season-long funeral procession will inevitably be repeated, and no one who cares about the club wants to endure this again. Roger Barsbourne, Main USA. It was embarrassing to see how we lost it after 35 minutes against Manchester City. More embarrassing is that we have a manager, obviously without a game plan. Even more worried that he does not react, not after 2 goals conceded, not after half-time, but first about 75 minutes played. Nothing happens. Very, very unprofessional. From the outside, it looks Slot doesn't know what to do. His toolbox is empty and been that since April 25th. He does not have the tools or the knowledge to manage a top club in the Premier League. Erik Madsen, Denmark, poor seasons happen, unfortunately. Not the first time or the last time, whoever the manager is. Before you get rid of the manager, what happens if the next does poorly? Will he get sacked? Then another manager? Guess we will become a Chelsea or Manchester United. When did those teams last win the Premier League? It was a long time ago. Be careful what you wish for. Very disappointing not to see the younger players given more of a chance this season, which is something we always saw under Klopp. It would give a bit more rotation in the squad too. Also tired of seeing players moving in and out of their positions and Virgil having to constantly be looking to cover for all the back four positions. No wonder he's made a few clumsy mistakes, plus he's played every game. Kerkez has his moments and will be a great player, but it's a scandal Robbo hasn't had regular play. Arne Slot told decisive league game as Steven Gerrard delivers Liverpool's sack verdicts. Liverpool icon Steven Gerrard has shared his hopes that Arne Slot can turn around the Reds' fortunes, and he has identified one key fixture that will help the boss in his efforts. Steven Gerrard believes the Fulham fixture could prove to be a defining moment in Arne Slot's Liverpool reign. The 45-year-old reckons that a victory over the Cottagers could keep the heat on Manchester United and Aston Villa in the race for a top four finish. However, a failure to beat Fulham at Anfield on April 14th, coupled with a damaging defeat to Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League, would leave the Liverpool legend deeply concerned. Liverpool have the opportunity to bounce back against PSG in the Champions League just days after their humiliating 4-0 thrashing at the hands of rivals Manchester City in the FA Cup. But facing the reigning Champions League holders presents a stern test for a rattled Red side, with Virgil van Dijk openly admitting they gave up in Greater Manchester. Gerrard reaffirmed his belief that the Premier League winning boss can turn things around on Merseyside, stressing the vital importance of securing Champions League football at Anfield next season. He told TalkSport, the players have admitted it, the manager has, it's not good enough. It's a huge week. They've got to stand up and be counted, stick together and grasp the opportunity to put pressure on Aston Villa and Manchester United against Fulham, which is arguably as important. They've got to give everything against PSG and take them to Anfield, try and galvanise the season. If it goes the other way, unfortunately, the pressure, heat, intensity comes on the players and Arne Slot. From a fan's point of view, I don't want to see it. It's key. That's why I say I think the Fulham game is just as important. If the ownership sees that gap to Villa or United stretch, I worry for the manager's position. I don't want to see it happen. I'm a huge fan. I was blown away by his first season. He's a good man, a very good coach after what he's done. The key to the situation is the Fulham game. If he can put more heat on Villa and United and stay in the PSG game, everything will be fine and in a better place in 6 days' time. If this was to get worse, I'd be worried for the manager, I must say. Marco Silva's Fulham travel to Anfield on Saturday, April 11th, with the Cottagers clash squeezed into Liverpool's punishing Champions League schedule on either side. Liverpool currently occupy 5th place, 5 points adrift of 4th placed Aston Villa and 6 points behind Manchester United, while holding a precarious advantage over Chelsea, Brentford and Everton breathing down their necks. Fulham trail the Reds by 5 points, and a victory could breathe new life into their European ambitions under the former Blues boss. Saturday's late kickoff presents Liverpool with the chance to close the gap on their Champions League rivals while pulling clear of the side snapping at their heels. Chelsea make the trip to Brentford, and barring a dramatic swing in goal difference, Liverpool looks set to remain ahead of both clubs. A victory for Liverpool against Fulham could heap some pressure on the sides above them, with Aston Villa heading to relegation-threatened Nottingham Forest on Sunday, 2 p.m. kickoff, while Chelsea host Manchester City Sunday 4:30 p.m. before the Red Devils take on Leeds United Monday at 8 p.m. Every Champions League quarter-final tie predicted as Arsenal and Liverpool sent warning big debate. The Champions League returns this week with Arsenal and Liverpool flying the Premier League flag, whilst Real Madrid face Bayern Munich in a titanic clash. The Champions League quarter-finals begin on Tuesday with a heavyweight lineup that sees Arsenal, whose season is threatening to unravel, facing Sporting Lisbon, and Real Madrid taking on Bayern Munich. The Gunners have won all but one of their European games this term and have been favourites for much of the season. Their successive defeats domestically has cast doubt over their ability to get over the line, and they'll need to do a job on the Portuguese side if they're to silence the doubters. Liverpool remain the only other Premier League side in the tournament, but they face a daunting task against defending champions PSG. It is a repeat of a last 16 tie from 12 months ago, with the Parisians getting the better of the Reds, who have dropped off massively in the years since, and a firm underdogs. Real and Bayern square off with their first leg taking place at the Bernabeu. The two teams have a staggering 21 European Cups between them and are among the most decorated teams on the continent. Bayern bring form and treble-winning ambitions to Spain, but Los Blancos have a knack in this competition. There's an all-La Liga tie with Barcelona and Atletico Madrid, who both downed English teams in the last 16, squaring off. The Catalans were semi-finalists last season and want to exceed that, whilst Diego Simeone is a two-time runner-up in his days with Atletico. The winner of that tie could face Arsenal, provided they can do a job on Sporting over the next 10 days. Mirror Football's writers cast their eye across the 4 quarter-finals as Europe really begins to hot up. Sam Mead PSG seeing off Liverpool seems like the most obvious result across the last 8. The Parisians are in form, the Reds aren't, and ultimately Luis Enrique's side are just a better team at present. They've kept last year's momentum going, and based on what we saw against Chelsea, will be a tough nut to crack A month ago, you'd have said Arsenal would have made light work of Sporting. Now, we're not so sure. Mikel Arteta needs to arrest the slide in North London and prove his team have the stomach for the fight. This tie, though, has all the ingredients of an upset. Elsewhere, I'd back Barcelona to see off Atletico, albeit Simeone's side have got the better of the Catalans in a cup competition already this season. Real seem to have a God-given right to win European ties, even when everything says they shouldn't. But I'm going to back the Germans to halt the Spanish giants. From an English perspective, it would be a great watch to see Harry Kane conquer Europe, and he's undoubtedly the form striker on the continent at present. He'd certainly be worthy of a Champions League winners' medal. Andy Dunn. After the dull, tiresome, never-ending preliminary stages of the Champions League, we've got quarter-final matchups that are beyond mouth-watering. Real Madrid versus Bayern Munich. What a tie. Hopefully, Harry Kane, who missed the dramatic win at Freiburg on Saturday, will be fit to start. And if he is, I expect him to score in the Bernabeu and give Bayern a platform to progress. Not only will they progress, Bayern will go on to win the competition, and they will not have to deal with English opposition. Sporting Lisbon are the dark horses of this competition and will cause a big upset against Arsenal, while Liverpool will find Paris Saint-Germain too classy. The French side's young, vibrant attacking unit will be too much for a Liverpool defence that suddenly looks a bit wooden. And with Hansi Flick's attacking options, Barcelona will get past Atletico Madrid to complete a great last four. Ben Husband. Arsenal are wobbling big time, but I still think they will have too much for Sporting, although they may have to overturn a deficit at the Emirates next week. Liverpool were brilliant against Galatasaray at Anfield in the last 16, but completely bereft against Manchester City in the Cup. And that's probably about where they are in truth. Hot and cold, but at a level below Europe's elite. That's why I think PSG will come out of that one and pile even more pressure on Arne Slot. Real Madrid versus Bayern Munich is a blockbuster. The Spaniards shut up a few doubters against City, but this Bayern are a different animal who I think will go all the way. And in the final tie, I fancy Barcelona over 2 legs against Atletico Madrid. Diego Simeone will make it tricky, though, you know that for sure. John Cross, the semi-final lineup, will be a heavyweight affair. My predicted last 4 is Arsenal, Paris Saint-Germain, Barcelona and Bayern Munich. Football rarely goes to plan or follow the odds, but that would be a tasty lineup, and it would be great news for the Champions League. Arsenal face a really difficult quarter-final tie with Sporting Lisbon, but I think over the 2 legs they will be too strong for their Portuguese opponents. PSG have this incredible habit of really upping their game tempo and momentum, and that is why I think they will knock out Liverpool in that quarter-final. Barcelona are a far cry from their glory days, but they can still blow teams away as they did against Newcastle, and their pace and ability to get in behind should be a real worry for Arsenal if they meet in the semi-final. Then finally, I think Bayern will get through against Real Madrid. I just have a sneaky feeling that this could be a big year for Harry Kane, and minus, if he is fit, can score against any opponent right now. This is Ballon d'Or season for him. Alex Richards. Arsenal were dumped out of the FA Cup in midweek, but over 2 legs with the second at home, I can't see them falling short against Sporting Lisbon. The Gunners should be too strong against a Sporting side who boast an excellent centre-forward in Luis Suarez, their replacement for Victor Gyökeres, but who tend to lose to the sides you expect them to in this competition over the past 2 years. Liverpool head to Paris at a low ebb after the drubbing by Manchester City on Saturday, and that should hopefully spur them on to dig in and come together as a collective with their backs to the wall in Paris against the holders. PSG know how to step it up against better opposition, but I think Liverpool might be able to do something a little special over 2 legs here. There's a lot of question marks over a number of players in Arne Slot right now, but this PSG side will give them chances. Barcelona face Atletico Madrid, having beaten them in the Spanish capital on Saturday night, coming back to win as Atleti went down to 10 men. Atletico rested a number of key men and are very much putting their eggs in the Champions League basket. Already, the media in Catalonia is rife with suggestions that Atletico are going to try to bully their way through to the last 4 by any means necessary. I can actually see it coming to fruition, provided they toe that disciplinary line very, very carefully. Tie of the round is Bayern versus Real Madrid. A huge test for Vincent Kompany, but also Alvaro Arbeloa, if he wants to be in the discussions to get the job at the Bernabeu on a permanent basis. Madrid are getting their star men back at just the right time, while the knock Harry Kane sustained on England duty couldn't have been worse timed. When it comes down to it, I'd anticipate a goal fest across the 2 legs with Real edging it. That'll leave 2 English clubs and 2 from Madrid in the semi-finals. Dominic Szoboszlai lifts lid on Mohamed Salah talks in final Liverpool weeks. Dominic Szoboszlai opens up on Mohamed Salah's decision to leave Liverpool at the end of the current season. Dominic Szoboszlai says Mohamed Salah will go down as one of the best players that has ever played across world football. And Liverpool midfielder Szoboszlai says Salah, who is set to leave at the end of the season, is a reference point for everyone in the squad to look towards. Salah confirmed late last month that his 9th season at Anfield would be his final one, with the Egypt superstar set to walk away as a free agent. Despite having a year left on a new 2-year deal he signed 12 months ago, Salah, who is the third highest goal scorer of all time for Liverpool, has been a big influence on Szoboszlai since the Hungary captain joined from RB Leipzig for £60 million in 2023. And the number 8 opened up on what his colleague has meant to him during his time at Anfield. I don't have to talk too much about it because everyone knows. Szoboszlai said, "The numbers speak for themselves. The stuff he has done on the pitch speaks for itself, and he's one of the best that has ever played. That is not only for Liverpool, I think the world as well, and I am happy I was lucky to play with him, and I'm really happy that I can say he is one of my friends." Speaking to the Eco on Thursday at an event for the Merseyside charitable initiative Football for Change, Szoboszlai commented on Salah's decision to leave, adding, "To be honest, maybe you know I am very close with Mo. We had a lot of talks about what is going to happen in the future, and it is his own decision. He is a grown man. It's his own decision. He knows what to do. I think he is professional enough to act in a way that he has to, because to leave with one of the trophies we are going for would be amazing. He is every day in training being a good example for all of us, for the new guys, the old guys, everyone. He shows us about being a better player and a better human, so he has had a big impact on his career. Mo is one of my best friends in the squad. He is with me all the time, but Milos is with me as well all the time, so we are the three. Milos is my little brother and Mo is my big brother." Liverpool return to action on Wednesday night when they are entertained by Paris Saint-Germain in the first leg of their Champions League quarter-final. Trent Alexander-Arnold back to get phone call by coach after nightmare results. The ex-Liverpool defender has not been selected in the last 4 England squads, and most expect him to miss out on a spot at the World Cup. But one ex-captain has encouraged Thomas Tuchel to offer him another chance. Steven Gerrard has backed Trent Alexander-Arnold to be handed an England reprieve and thinks Thomas Tuchel should select the ex-Liverpool defender for this summer's World Cup. The Real Madrid star, who called time on his 20-year association with his boyhood Reds last summer, has played just 26 minutes across Tuchel's 12 games in charge of the Three Lions and has been omitted from the last 4 squads. He was again overlooked for last month's friendlies against Uruguay and Japan, with Tuchel admitting it was a difficult decision as he knows what Alexander-Arnold can offer. Given the 27-year-old was not selected in an expanded 35-man group, most believe his chances of being named in the World Cup roster are non-existent, but Gerrard feels he should be handed an unlikely call-up. Asked on TalkSport if he was shocked by Alexander-Arnold's omission, the former Liverpool and England captain replied yes, and even more surprised if you look at the last 2 England games. "I think it was crying out for Trent-like quality in terms of that creation that you need against Uruguay, against Japan. You need someone who's going to be able to open the door, or someone off the bench who can come on and improve things if things are not going how you want them to." So for him to not be in the 35 best England players, for me, is a huge shock. Very surprised. And the only good and positive thing about that is he's got time to resurrect it. I'm not in Thomas Tuchel's shoes, but if I was, the first thing I would have been doing after the Japan game is getting on the phone back to Trent and saying, "Listen, it's not over for you, son." On the back of them 2 performances, when it was put to Gerrard that Alexander-Arnold may benefit from not featuring in the underwhelming performances against Uruguay and Japan, he responded, "We've all been in that situation where you're suspended or you're injured and the team don't do well and then everyone thinks you're better than what you are. And we've all been there, but I don't think the get-together has done Trent any harm at all. Listen, it was an experimental international break. It can go either way. You can win comfortably in both games and then the nation gets carried away and more pressure on the players. I think it was a bit of a reality check, a bit of a wake-up call, but I have no doubt when he gets his best players back in the squad and back on the pitch, that is your Kane, your Declan Rices, your Jude Bellingham, you get your proper pillars in that team, your proper keeper in place and a settled back 4. There's no doubts about it that this group of players have proved they can go the distance, and what I mean by that is semi-finals and finals. I have no doubt they can go and have another huge, massive effort in the summer, but the last international break was a washout, and in terms of some of the manager's personal decisions, I don't agree with, because I think that these players can make a difference come the summer. Want more Liverpool news, transfers and shocking verdicts? Hit like, subscribe and turn on notifications for daily updates.